Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sandeep Sharma. We have a very special guest with us today. We have Dr. Amrutha Vishalakshi, who has got rank 2. Yes, you heard it right, rank 2 in Neet Super Speciality 2022 in Pediatrics. And it's a pleasure for us that she has agreed to share her experiences with the PrepLadder team. So, Dr. Amrutha, congratulations and welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much, sir. And it's a great pleasure that I'm with the PrepLadder team. I feel like I'm chatting with a celebrity, like not me, sir is the celebrity. I'm chatting with sir.
I would like to disagree here because right now you are the celebrity one and you have really, really performed. Like getting through in the top 50 itself is a huge achievement. Getting into top two is like, it's like, entirely different thing. Frankly speaking, I haven't experienced such a thing. It's something, which is out of this world. So, Dr. Amrita, let us begin with asking about your background right now. Where do you belong to and from where you did your UG and PG?
Yeah, I'm from Kerala, Calicut, in North Kerala. I did my undergraduation and post-graduation both from Institute of Maternal and Child Health, Government Medical College, Calicut itself. And I actually did my senior residency, and amidst that, I gave an attempt of Neet SS of last year, and then I did my 6 months of internship. Then I seriously prepared for this exam.
Okay, so you said you have given the previous NEET SS. How was this NEET SS different from the previous one?
Yeah, unanimously, it was a tough paper only. And actually, immediate post exam, I was not sure like whether I didn't prepare it well or not, or because the paper was tough or not. I was not sure. Like I was totally in another state. So when I came back and like when I opened all the groups unanimously, I found it was a tough paper only. Yes, it was a tough paper, but now after the results are out, I feel like it was an intelligent and tricky paper. That's it. And of course, there's a huge difference from last year's pattern, but still, it was not a totally uncrackable paper. It was not like that, actually. It could have been still done. It is a kind of paper, but it was, of course, different from last year. So the one-liners and all actually. From last year, I expected more of one-liners this time. So, but I found like almost 70 to 80%. It was concept-based, obviously, and even one-liners asked this time, those were also concept-based only, but like the length of questions that was totally different. Uh, all questions are almost 80% of questions. They were all 5, 6 line questions with lots of investigations, and I had to read it twice or thrice and then search a gem of word from that. And of course, finally, I would think of some diagnosis, but alas, the options won't match my diagnosis. Actually, in the exam, I was confused for the first 20 to 30 questions. Then only I calmed down myself. I thought like it's okay. I'll take my time and find out the answer. Actually, the first 30 minutes was a bit confusing for me. Then only I came to my state of mind, and some presence of mind I got after the initial 30 minutes. So it was a tricky paper actually. That way.
It's important not to lose, not to panic in the exam because if it is tough, it is going to be tough for everyone. So it's an important message from Dr. Amrita to all the future aspirants that you may not sometimes find the exam to your liking, but you have to adapt yourself, hold your nerves, and eventually you will do well. Maybe you will end up with a top two rank, just like Dr. Amrita did. So, Dr. Amrita, just tell me about you said that you have prepared for this exam, like this was the second time you gave the exam. So, how much time do you think should be enough for preparing for NEET SS exam, and how much time did you take? Like, did you find the time ample? Did you find, or someone like some aspirant you would say that he should start a bit early?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I started my preparation just after I gave my MD exam, my final MD exam. So I think the right time should be at least by the latest, it should be in our final year. We should be deciding like, okay, we should be preparing for that also because in my first attempt, the major one concept I understood was like I had a pseudo confidence when I was giving my first attempt. Like, okay, I'm a fresh pass out candidate, so I know Nelson well. It's okay. I'm very thorough with rickets, all those CH, then hemolytic anemias. Those things are frequently asked MD questions. I'm very thorough with that. I can write an essay on that. But when I gave my first exam, I felt that okay, I had learned this, but why am I not able to find an answer to this? I was totally confused to many questions between two options. Like even UAC, I knew the level was between T6 and T10, but the options had T6 to T8, T8 to T10, and I was gone there. So after that exam, I found like okay, the preparation for MD and an MCQ exam is totally different, and I was actually panicked that time. Like okay, I'll have to start from ground level itself. So this is not at all like the way to prepare. I felt so, but of course, after giving my exam, I did analyze what I made wrong, like where was my weak point. So after the exam, I sat and I saw there were areas which I was so thorough, but I was not precise. That was what I understood after giving my first paper. I knew the things, but I don't know the right thing, the correct thing, or that precision I was lacking. And many areas I did not even touch in my MD period, and those were important for this SS. So that I had totally left out, and many systems I didn't even bother about at all. Like rheumatology, I totally forgot to study in my first attempt. So I came to know that I had so many faults. So this time I sat like some 4 months prior to exam. I seriously started preparation this time. So 4 months back, I started I made a timetable. Like I listed out all the systems, and then in those systems which I have never touched, like in ped cardiology, I had not read cardiomyopathies in my MD period. Actually, I found those that chapter very boring. Those tables were not at all for me, and like I had totally left out that. So there were some areas like that, and I listed out all those areas. System wise, I wrote, and I made sure that I won't miss any system this time, particularly rheumatology, then ENT portion, orthopedic conditions. Those were small areas, then like poisoning, such areas, but I had not read much in my MD period like that. So I listed that, then I put like how much time I want to cover all these, and then I mostly listen to videos only because someone teaching me is better for me than myself reading and finding out from Nelson. So actually, after watching some of the classes videos in PrepLadder, I went back to Nelson, and only some portions I reread, like those which I felt were very important statement based questions might be asked. That portions only I went back and read. Then I made sure I did some MCQs daily, at least some 50 to 100 MCQs. Like in the beginning period, it was not up to that. From the last 3 months onwards, I started doing like some 50 MCQs at least I would do daily. Then weekly, at least I will give the weekends I would dedicate for exams. And I made sure I'm tuned for being trained in MCQ practice. Like I know the answer, but I should answer MCQ rightly. So I made sure I do that. So basically, I listed out my faults and worked out on my weaker areas rather than like starting from basics, reading from first page onwards. Actually, I was too lazy to do that. I mostly listened to videos and then went back the required areas which I thought I would fall. Likewise, I started. So 3 months prior only, I started seriously, I would say. And for the last 1 month, I read intensively. And for the last 15 days prior to exam, I totally stopped all new readings and I started revision. Like I would advise, like two revisions are definitely required: one quick revision and one slow revision. So first, I did my slow revision in 10 days, and 5 days prior to exam, I did a quick revision. And prior 2 days, mostly I went through some areas like CAH, rickets, tubulopathies, which would definitely, I was sure those would be asked. And I made some silly mistakes in that frequently, so I made sure I went through that also. And on the day of exam in the morning and the previous day night and all, I went through just the PrepLadder treasures. Uh, Treasures were mostly very silly things, very small things only, like WHO criteria for SAM, then WHO grading of vitamin A deficiency. There were so simple things which we know even in our PG period, but those mattered on the previous day. But when I even read that on the previous day, I felt like, oh, these things also I tend to forget. I was so apprehensive on the previous day. But I think it should come from tougher to simpler. Like on the previous day, we should not be reading too much complicated things. Just simple things will help.
See,
Like
any competitive exam, whether it is a beginning like NEET UG, NEET PG kind of exam, or it is a super specialty exam, it is always a mix of simple and complex things. And sometimes we, if especially if we are a good student, we have a tendency to overcomplicate things and start reading too many complicated things. So what happens is the easier things they lose out, and they are the ones you have to get a very high score in that. So, how many did you attempt in the actual exam? Like, what was your attempt and what was your eventual score in the paper?
sorry, sir.
How many
Breaking.
questions did you attempt and what was the eventual score you got?
Yeah, actually, this exam, I would say I took a great risk. Like, after I did one complete round of, like, I went through all questions, I was confidently, I could say I attempted 90 to 100 questions. Those I was sure, like, I'd be right. And there are some 20 to 30 questions, 20 to 25 questions were like, most probably I would be right, but there's a chance that I'll go wrong. And some 10, 5 to 8 questions I totally took risk. Like after I came to ground, I felt like no, I shouldn't settle for this. Actually, I had prepared well. I had a confidence prior to exam that I would definitely crack this exam. So at the end, after I completed 2 rounds of like I went through all questions twice, and then I found I just attempted 130 around. So I thought I shouldn't settle for this. I can try. Like I will read. I won't take a very great risk, but still I should be taking some risk to get something rewarding. So actually, it was like that day the wind was favorable for me. I would say because usually I won't take that risk for these kinds of questions, but that day I had some confidence. And the previous day I listened to your message the previous day which you gave through the Telegram group. So from somewhere I had some confidence to attempt few more questions, and I felt like some questions in the first reading I felt they were totally strange to me, but on the second reading I thought okay they might be like this is what they mean, and in the third reading I got a keyword in that. One question I found like that was I thought it was a question on organ donation. So a baby who did not cry was referred to a hospital, and few hours later the baby died. Parents wish to donate organs. So which organ could you suggest to donate? So the question actually I didn't understand the question in that day's mindset, but the options look very simple. So there must be something. I thought actually I had to read that question thrice to get the answer. Like if I think it now, it was a very simple question. They just meant pernet last week's only. But that particular day, our mindset, our peace of mind, some presence of mind should be there. I believe.
And what was your
Other
eventual
factors
score?
also.
Actual score?
My score was 454.
454 out of 600.
I attempted 145 questions.
145 questions. So it should attempt is on the higher side. Most of the students have taken interviews, like except a few. Again, it comes down to individuals, but I think most of the good rankers, top rankers, have attempted somewhere between 130 to 145. So that is the area out of 150 where most of the rankers have attempted. So again, it is a small subtle message to the future aspirants. So Dr. Amrita, you said that you basically relied on Nelson, obviously, and PrepLadder also, like videos helped you a lot. Other than that, any other resource did you use, or these two were like sufficient for you? Like if you have to advise somebody that Nelson and PrepLadder somebody is doing, what additional thing you think it is needed, or you think it is more than enough?
Till last exam, I would definitely suggest Nelson would be enough. But this time, I felt many questions were asked beyond Nelson. But actually, if you're preparing some 3 months or 2 months prior to exam, you have started your preparation. I won't advise to not. I advise like not to go beyond Nelson. Like we can't risk that some 20% questions which are asked out of Nelson to some 60 to 70% from Nelson. We can't risk that. So definitely Nelson shouldn't go wrong. In my MD days, I used to refer to other articles and all, but in my first exam, I thought it did a bit of harm. Like I got confused sometimes. I remembered like some articles said like this. Now it is not like that. Nelson said like this. I got confused between some figures and all. So I decided after giving first exam, like I would refer or I would study only one source. Like so from your classes, I felt like those are more than enough. Like you were taking so much hard work. and you had compiled so many sources, many latest articles. So trusting one person is enough. Like if you feel it is authentic, it is okay. Nelson plus any kind of these resources which would compile latest updates. Like a single source is always better than going beyond that. And of course, I learned Cloherty and Ames protocol, but selectively only. Some tables, some charts, protocols, like this. Not much beyond that. Few articles I tried, but I felt like no, this won't stay good for me now. Better I keep it down. I'll go with PrepLadder updates like this.
See, as an educator, like I always feel it's my duty, and I always say review articles are good for understanding of the subject, understanding the topic. But if you're targeting an exam, sometimes too many review articles create confusion. Like if you look at four different review articles, you will find four different cutoffs of neonatal hypoglycemia and neonatal polycythemia in there. So
Exactly.
you are going to get confused, which is the one I'm going to mark in the paper. So for neonatal,
Exactly.
I think Ames protocol, Cloherty, whatever they say, that is final. Other than neonatology, most of the things, if they are mentioned in Nelson, examiner is going to follow that. So I think sticking to one or two resources is good, more than enough. And I think Dr. Amrita was very smart and very meticulous in that, and everything fell into place. So Dr. Amrita, if there are a lot of students who have not done well, and some of them will be sitting for the first time in Neet SS 2023, some of them will be targeting the INISS also in a couple of months from now. What advice would you give to future aspirants?
Obviously, from this year's pattern, it is very clear like clinics is always the best teacher. So after giving the exam, I felt like they are searching for a good clinician also than a person who has marked up so many one-liners. So it is always like we are supposed to be good clinicians first of all. Then only we are supposed to go behind books and all. So definitely do well in your clinics, and while working up a case itself, we learn lot many things unknowingly, subconsciously. So always be good in your clinics, and it will definitely help. And along with that, always like our all mentors and consultants, professors say, while working up a case, we can read more about that. We can even read research, I mean review articles during our PG times. It's okay to be so, but when it comes to exam time, when we are seriously preparing, stick to one reliable source, whichever source it may be. But never forget Nelson. Nelson is always the Bible, as everyone says. Figures, then all diagrams, figures, and all. I tried to go through many like neurology, rheumatology, such systems. I tried to go through the diagrams, figures as well. Some 1 week prior to exam, so that I would remember if the exact same diagram is asked in the exam. So be like familiar with Nelson in the first year at least, then from second year and third year, go to Nelson more in more depth. Then try reading review articles. It is good, but when it comes more near to exam, it is always better to stick to one resource like this, and always try practicing MCQs, because this MD preparation is very different from MCQ preparation. Very very different, and of course practicing MCQs, then doing giving exams, and identifying where you stand among a group. Those things are very important. So serious preparation should start from final year definitely. First year and second year, I don't think so. We'll be more into identifying and understanding the subject. Like we'll be busy with other things, and likewise.
I totally agree that initial few months you should be focusing on your clinical aspects. You should be learning procedures, basics, handling the patient, and all those things. And if you
Yes.
have to read, if you have to, even if you have to prepare, like then utilize all the resources, all the books in a way so that it supplements your clinical knowledge. Like whatever you are reading,
Exactly.
eventually it is going to the MCQ oriented hardcore 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, MCQ oriented preparation. I think that should come nearer to when your MD is ending or immediately after that. I totally agree. And Dr. Amruta, what is the importance of Q bank and test series and mock exams? Like obviously, once somebody is doing MD, it is very difficult to do it on a consistent basis. But do you feel that giving mock exams it is important? MCQ practice is important, and how should one go about it?
Yes.
Any suggestions on that?
Yeah, actually, I did practice MCQs as I already said. I made sure I did at least some 30 to 50 MCQs at least per day. And like always, it is a very easy method of revision. Like even if we haven't read that particular portion, just by doing MCQs, we'll identify like these things I haven't read or these things I have missed out. So I should go back and read. It gives such an insight And then also in PrepLadder app, actually many questions do come as a repeat in question banks or even in exams. So again, it's a revision. And mock exams are actually very nice questions. Where many of the questions in the last two granters were very nice, almost very similar to some questions which were asked this time. So that kind of pattern of questions which were asked, those like doing such MCQs would help us to get familiarized with type of questions asked. Even a simple question, how can that be framed in another way? And like how easily we are confused between options. Those idea we get by practicing MCQs only. Like many topics will be very simple, but while doing MCQs, we find it difficult. Such an insight is really required, which I felt after my exam only, first exam.
Yes, yes.
So those were very helpful. I gave the last two granters, and initially I felt the granters could have been kept a bit more earlier. That after doing the granters only, we get to know many things. Like I haven't touched this portion itself. I have to read that once more. So, but it was an ideal time. After giving the exam, we had a time. We had enough time to just go through all questions and reinforce certain areas. To go back to Nelson once more to some images. Likewise, it was okay. The last week, actually, just prior to last week should be the right time to give such important big exams, I feel.
So, Dr. Amrita, you have done your thing. You are going to be a neonatologist now. Now you'll pick a seat of your choice at the place of your choice. So, whom do you want to attribute this success to? Because it's never a single person's effort. There are always a team at the back, your family, your support staff, your friends. So, any attribution, any shout out you want to give?
Of course, I would definitely say hard work was the key to success, but some 5 to 10% I always believe that some people say God's grace or a luck factor that is definitely there. Like I told already, I won't take that risk on most of the days. That day I had some courage to attempt some extra questions too. So I had some presence of mind. Like the wind was favorable for me that day. Obviously God's grace and a great credit to the PrepLadder team, of course, that all the updates and those compiled videos and many things like many classes of you I remember even now fresh like SMA and CAH. Those are absolutely awesome classes because you would explain those pathophysiology part and we would think like pathophysiology is not important for MCQ, but understanding that would help us to like conceptualize and solve so many MCQs. So definitely a big credit to PrepLadder team and especially for you, sir. And my husband, I got married recently only, so 4 5 months back, and my husband walked in front of me. He's the rank two last year, so plastic surgery MCH. So he obviously gave me so many tips, and more importantly, he made sure that I'm not stressed in the last month of preparation. So he had lots and lots of tricks with him. Actually, he was a great support for me. And obviously, my family, everyone understood me, my stressful days, and everyone supported me with my basic needs and all.
Excellent.
Definitely, my seniors are there, my youth PG mentors, everyone.
It is. It is. So mission accomplished. I don't think any other exams you are going to give now. Now it's time to move into practice and save some young neonatal lives for you. So we wish you on behalf of PrepLadder team, I myself and the entire team, everybody wishes you all the very best for a great future. Congratulations to your entire family also, and we wish you all the best for life. And do stay in touch and keep guiding others also, so that everyone follows in your footsteps. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you
time.
so much.
Thank you.